With the 14th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts dream scenario came true. They take Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. Derek, so many people saying there's no way Tyler Warren falls to the Indianapolis Colts at pick 14. Well, shout out to the Chicago Bears. They took Colston Loveland with the 10th pick. So Tyler Warren wasn't the first tight end that got drafted actually in this draft. It was Colston Loveland. So that allowed the Indianapolis Colts to stay put at 14 and get their guy in Tyler Warren. And Derek, we've talked about Tyler Warren a ton during this offseason. He's been the main topic of conversation pretty much entirely throughout the course of the offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew the Colts needed a tight end desperately. We saw the stats from last year. It was not pretty. The Colts had, I think, if not the worst, one of the worst tight end groups in the entire NFL. Tyler Warren was a massive need for them. So they went out and they got their guy. And Derek, when you look at Tyler Warren, he's 6'6", 260 pounds. He's a tight end that not only offers you something that you don't have from a receiving standpoint, but he also is a tight end, Derek, that can block. He's a well-rounded tight end.
Yep.
We heard Chris Ballard a couple days ago on Monday talk about the fact the Colts need to get a tight end that can play all three downs, right?
Yep.
Tyler Warren certainly fits that bill. While, yes, he may not have the upside, say, as a Colston Loveland in some people's minds, he still is a very, very quality player. I mean, a guy that...
And that depends on who you ask.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah.
Some people have said that, but to me, it was not a question at all that Tyler Warren was by far, in my opinion, even though I think it got a little bit closer as the draft kind of came around, Tyler Warren was still the best tight end in this class overall, currently as we stand right now. So I think when you look at that, this is an absolute slam dunk for the Indianapolis Colts. Like I said on stream, they probably sprinted that pick up because that is an absolute steal at pick 14. You get the best tight end in this class. The Colts missed out on Brock Bowers a year ago. They get their guy in Tyler Warren here at pick 14.
Yeah, like you said, Chicago taking Loveland at 10 was the first major, oh my gosh, in this draft.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we couldn't have imagined they would have taken Loveland over Warren again. Like you said, the majority consensus is Warren is the number one guy in this class and one of the most complete tight ends that we have seen in a draft class in quite some time.
Yeah.
Even more complete than Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers might be a better receiving threat in some ways, but Tyler Warren can do everything for you, man. And no doubt that this whole situation, it came down to the more people kept going off the board, the more you were thinking Tyler Warren could get there. You first came with the Jets, then the Panthers, then the Chicago Bears, worrying about if Dallas wanted to make a move. I mean, we even remember that Dallas pick. Tyler was the first word we heard, and you could see it in our stream. Our hearts skipped a beat because we thought it was going to be Tyler Warren, but it was Tyler Booker. So,
thank goodness.
It was so, like you said, this could not have been a better scenario for the Indianapolis Colts. Again, some people suggested there might be more positions of need that might be more important for the Indianapolis Colts. You know, talking about edge, talking about linebacker, all these different things. But I got to be honest with you, Cody, I can't get behind that because like you just said, the Indianapolis Colts had the least productive tight end room in all of the NFL last year. Now, no doubt that quarterback play had something to do with it, but it also, we watched it. If you actually watched Colts games, you would have sat there and you would have seen the number of mistakes that were made by our tight end group last year when there was actually plays to be made that could have been happened, but they didn't. But now you have a guy, Chris Ballard said it in his presser earlier this week. He wanted to have a guy that was going to be a 3-down back, someone that was going to be on the field every play and can do everything for you. Tyler Warren is that player. He can be on the field at every single play if you needed him to be. He can line up on the outside. He can line up on the inside. He can line up in line. He can line up in the backfield, guys. The Penn State offense was so creative in getting Tyler Warren the ball because this is a guy that while he's 6'6" and 260 pounds, Cody, he is an athlete. You see him hurdle people. You see him run over people. You see him outrun some people. So this is a guy that can do everything for you. And we know how the Colts like to mix things up, especially in the red zone and in short yardage situations. Can you imagine an Anthony Richardson potentially, Jonathan Taylor, and Tyler Warren in the backfield for teams? That is going to be a defensive coordinator's worst nightmare to have to think about that. This is a huge step for the Indianapolis Colts. They got a playmaking tight end that is going to make an impact day one for that offense.
And we talked about it before. When's the last time the Colts have had a tight end that truly could strike fear into an opposing defense? It's been a while. Probably have to go back to 2018 with Eric Ebron, that 1 year. But long term, the Colts have not had that type of tight end, honestly, since Dallas Clark. As much as I love Jack Doyle, he wasn't that. He was solid. He was a really, really underrated player. But Tyler Warren offers you something, frankly, you haven't had at tight end for a long time. And if you're looking at this Indianapolis Colts offense right now, I know there's still questions at quarterback. You feel good about your wide receivers. You got to figure out your right guard position. But other than that, Derek, and maybe another running back, I feel really good about this Colts offense. I mean, that was the most glaring, obvious need the Colts had on offense. And we saw they didn't do anything when it came to free agency for the tight end position, even though they could have. There were some guys available for trade. The Colts could have gone that route, but they didn't. They stayed put, believed Tyler Warren was going to be there, and the board just fell that way. And, I was a little bit concerned because we heard rumblings about the Rams potentially coming up and drafting a tight end. And so when Miami picked, I exhaled a little bit. I was like, okay, he's going to be here if the Colts so choose. And shout out to Ballard. His patience paid off here. Tyler Warren's an Indianapolis Colt, and I just think this has been the pick that everybody's wanted.
This is what the Colts nation wanted.
If you polled 100 Colts fans, I guarantee you about 90 of them would have said Tyler Warren.
Yeah, most of them probably
Most of them would. And this has been last year was such a surprising pick. This was the least surprising pick, but probably the happiest we've been for a Colts pick in some time.
Especially since, like you said before, we didn't know if this guy was going to be available.
There was a real scenario where he wasn't. So, this was an absolute steal here. I had multiple people texting me, and one person said, you guys got gifted Tyler Warren, and I absolutely agree with that.
Thank you, Chicago. Thank you, Chicago.
And thank you, other teams.
Else that passed.
Thank you, Miami. Thank you, the other teams there that stayed and picked, because they easily could have traded out and gave a team like the Rams an opportunity to go up and get a tight end, right? So, I am absolutely happy with this pick. And now you can focus on some other needs for the Indianapolis Colts, which is definitely great. So, Tyler Warren, the pick here, guys. I think we're pretty amped up about it here.
We're very amped up.
And just excited to see what Tyler Warren will bring to this Colts offense. Certainly a piece they were missing last year for sure. So, guys, let us know your thoughts here on the Tyler Warren selection here for the Indianapolis Colts. Let us know all those things in the comments down below. Guys, we're still streaming tonight, and we're going to be streaming tomorrow and also Saturday. So you guys definitely don't want to miss that. But guys, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell. But that'll do it for this one. Thanks, guys, and go Colts.
What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, the Colts don't trade back. They stay put at pick number 45, and they do take an edge. They took JT Tuimoloau from The Ohio State University, one of the top edge rushers in this draft cycle. Cody, it was definitely not a name that a lot of people had going to the Indianapolis Colts. Ezeruku and Nick Scorton and Mike Green and a lot of these other edges that were available around that time was a bigger name for a lot of people. But they went with JT Tuimoloau, somebody who has a high motor, a very big leader of that Ohio State defense, which was so elite last year. A guy that has had a lot of great success in Ohio State. And I will say this, had one of the most dominant defensive performances I have ever seen from a defensive end. Go watch the 2023 game against Penn State and come back and tell me that this guy is not a good football player. I promise you, you will change your mind. What is your reaction to JT Tuimoloau here to Indy in the second round?
Like I said to you on stream, Derek, people look at it and they'll say, oh, Mike Green's there, Nick Scorton's there. But Derek, we've said it 100 times by now. it's all different for different teams. Different teams have different players up on their board. It's not just about the numbers all the time, even though the numbers are pretty good here for JT. There's a lot of things that go into that. The work ethic, the things that he does, the leadership that he possesses, and just all that stuff. Level of competition. I mean, Ohio State's playing everybody, and he's being productive, in the Big Ten and productive against some of the elite type of teams. So with that being said, I'm a pretty big fan of this pick, to be honest with you, because you look at his stats overall, Derek. I mean, breakout year for him, 12 and a half sacks with the Buckeyes last year, 22 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
And, just a guy that I felt like was a relentless guy, was consistent all the time. And, yeah, the sack numbers aren't, like an Ezeraku, they weren't 16 and a half, but that's pretty good, especially considering the level of competition you're playing.
Yes.
Game in and game out on a week-to-week basis.
And the game planning that went into him as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you can't argue with that, and I think that's definitely a need for the Indianapolis Colts. We talked about it. It's a sneaky need for them because, maybe he may not be a starter this year. I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, you have Kwity Paye, you have Samson Ebukam, you have Leonard.
Yes.
But beyond Leonard, you don't have any other edge outside of now him on your roster, at least from a contract standpoint. So, with that being said, you absolutely needed to address the future at edge. It was no doubt a concern and no doubt a question mark there for them. So, yeah, I'm totally good with this. I think he's a really, really good player. I really do.
Yes.
And, like I said, it's all different for different teams. Like, we can look at the prospects, look at all this kind of stuff, but there's a lot more than just pure numbers that go into a pick like this. There's a lot of things, a lot of factors. So, love it or hate it, I think it's a pretty good pick, honestly.
One of those factors being, I think it's also a character thing. Shout out to Landon Oliver that posted this. You're talking about a couple of Big Ten players that Chris Ballard has drafted where they are building a new culture within this locker room. You're talking about bringing in these young guys that are really just guys that are leaders of young men. These are guys that have been captains of their teams and guys that not only put numbers up, but have shown that physical prowess, the toughness, and the mental wherewithal to come in and know what they're getting themselves into when they get here. And you're right. The future of the edge position is unknown. You don't know if you're going to keep Kwity Paye around after this year. Samson Ebukam, he's going to need a new contract. And Tyquan Lewis, I mean, we know what his ceiling is, so there's not going to be super high demand for him. So you don't have anyone outside of Latu to look for the future for.
Yeah.
But you think if JT Tuimoloau can do exactly what a Kwity Paye has done, which is be a great run defender, which JT Tuimoloau is, and also be a guy that can get you 8 sacks a year, Cody, that's exactly what you're hoping for to be able to replace that going forward. Again, it is not the biggest of names that people brought or were expecting for the Indianapolis Colts. I understand that. I am even shocked at the selection because I thought that JT might potentially go back a little bit further than what he did.
Well, here's my deal also, Derek. I look at from the Tennessee game on, including the playoff games.
Yes.
He had a sack or more in every single one of those games. He was disruptive in every single one of those games. On the biggest moments, he was making those plays.
Yep.
He was getting to the quarterback. That's what matters.
And like I said, in that Penn State game, when they were in Happy Valley in front of 110,000 fans, and there were people that were saying that Penn State was going to upset Ohio State and that was a game, Cody, that was going back and forth. JT Tuimoloau put that team on his back. He had, I'm pretty sure, had 3 turnovers in that game, forced 3 turnovers. He had 1 forced fumble that ended up in a recovery for Ohio State, had 2 interceptions. One of them went for a touchdown, and had 2 sacks in that game and 3 tackles for a loss.
Wow.
And 2 pass deflections. It was one of the most complete games you will ever see from an edge rusher. So this guy does have times where I think from the overall, I think the best thing that I heard from somebody was We don't know what his ceiling is going to be, but he has one of the highest floors of any of the edge guys in this class. So starting out, he's starting up here versus everyone else kind of down here, and then we'll have to see how that compounds. But JT is definitely going to walk into a good situation here.
Yeah, no doubt. And like we said, the Colts definitely had a need here at edge, and a lot of people seem to really like this pick for the Indianapolis Colts here. So what do you guys think? Let us know those things in the comments down below. Colts go edge rusher once again here in the second round, get their second Ohio State Buckeye defensive end in the second round under Chris Ballard here, but only about, however many years later, 7 years later. But still, they get a guy here, and I think, Derek, the difference you see with him versus maybe some of these other second-round picks is some more of the production in the big-time moments. You see a little bit more of that. It's not just about the traits. It's about the leadership. It's about, obviously, the production as well, and just some of those things as well. So, yeah, I think overall he's a really good player. He, like you said, he showed flashes of dominance, at the college football at the highest level, frankly. In the first 2 playoff games alone, he had 4 sacks in the first 2 games combined. So, yeah, talk about a guy that's off the edge that can definitely provide some juice there. And Derek, he's only 21 years old. So he's still got I think he's got some more he can get to, another level he can get to. And obviously this is a type of defensive end that Lou Anarumo covets and loves. So, definitely a great fit here. A shout out to our guy, Alex from Hail Mary Sports. I asked him about, a defensive end around this area. He threw out this name. So multiple times I'll add. So shout out to Alex for that one. So he was the first one on this. And so Colts go address a need here that we definitely knew was a need at some point, but didn't know
if we would take him that early.
Wasn't sure if it was going to be a second round pick, but still, I think he has the upside, Derek, to be a pretty darn good starter in this league.
Now, folks, I'm going to do this because I think it's going to be funny. I want to try to get this man to try and guess.
No.
And help me out here. I'll say it for you first. Okay. I want you to try to repeat it back to me. Tuimoloau.
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 There you go. It's close. It's close.
All right.
It's close. We're getting there. I'm going to get him here. I'm going to get him there.
This is kind of a running joke at this point because literally I feel like Ballard every year drafts at least 1 or 2 guys that I cannot pronounce. You sometimes can't pronounce. Like, how many times?
But I am able to do it because I hear Gus Johnson say it for the last 3 years.
Exactly.
I know how it goes. So.
Yeah, but there's a lot of different guys that even last year, Matt Goncalves. We thought Matt Goncalves for a while.
Yeah, Goncalves.
And, obviously, like Ben Banogu, we thought Van Ogu. Keep going on and on. Like, you could just keep talking about different players here. But, yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts here on the newest Indianapolis Colt here in round number 2. Colts get their edge guy. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and let us know your thoughts. That'll do it for this one, guys. Colts have another pick here coming up in the 3rd round, so stay tuned. All right, that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks so much, and as always, go Colts.
What's going on, Colts Nation? So, a shocker of a pick here in this 3rd round for the Indianapolis Colts. Really, it's just kind of leaving Cody and I kind of wondering about this pick a little bit, and I think that's a lot of what Colts Nation is feeling right as we're hearing it. The Indianapolis Colts don't trade back. They stay put at 80, and they are taking cornerback Justin Walley from the University of Minnesota. Cody, we certainly thought there was a chance that you could take a corner in this area.
Yeah.
We were certainly hoping that Siobhan Revell would have made it to them, but got taken a few picks ahead of them. But they stuck with corner, and, again, we're going to talk about this in another video after. And so we obviously are shocked with other positions of need that the Indianapolis Colts went with this at this moment. But what was your reaction to Justin Walley being here at number 80?
I just don't know a lot about this kid. I just have no real clue outside of the things we've read a little bit. To be honest, again, I know like different picks, different teams have different big boards. You have bigger needs than corner at this point. Yes. I frankly don't understand it. With a guy like Wyatt Millum sitting there, a guy even like Xavier Watts sitting there, those to me are bigger needs. Marcus Bowe sitting there as well. Like, I just look at that and I don't know. I don't understand it, right?
I felt like you could have addressed corner even later.
Right. And it's not like this guy was projected to even go here, you know? Like people had him as a day 3 pick. So I don't know. The Colts obviously must have seen something on the tape that made them think this kid's going to be a riser and he's going to be a stud because I don't really know. I mean, he's got good ball skills. I mean, at Minnesota last year, Derek, it was around a 50 passer rating that he allowed. So that's pretty good. You like that. But I just don't know. I just like with the position and then just with the player, I'm not sure how I feel about this pick, to be honest with you. You know, I like the first two picks. Again, we could look back at this in a couple of years and say they were smarter than all of us. But I'm just not like a huge fan of this one, to be honest with you.
Felt like for a guy that, again, is still on the hot seat, to get a guy that could have made a more immediate impact right away. Now, again, they talk about how Justin Walley has great instincts, and they felt that Lou Anarumo can get the best out of him. So that obviously goes into it. And he's got good speed. He's got good instincts. Definitely things that you need as a corner. The production is certainly not mind-blowing. It's solid as a corner. I mean, he has 155 tackles over a span of 4 years as a corner. Has 7 interceptions. He was a second-team All-Big Ten. So certainly accolades are there. But again, yeah, I think that a lot of people just are surprised by the name because that is certainly not a name that a lot of us had heard about because, as you said, the majority of people had this guy as a day 3 pick.
Yeah.
Like you could have probably waited a round or two before taking this guy. Now, again, like you said before, these teams are taking some of these guys way earlier than they probably should be.
Yeah.
Or at least what we think. Because at the time that we're recording this, guys like Xavier Watts, who a lot of people said was an easy second-round draft pick, we're about to end the 3rd round, and he's still there.
Yep.
Wyatt Milam's still there. And the names keep going. I can keep mentioning quite a few of these that could have been taken much earlier. But, I mean, again, it just comes down to how these teams feel about it. Again, we'll see as time goes along. Maybe if a day or two goes by, maybe Cody and I feel different about this pick. But I think this is certainly the first time in this draft where we're sitting here and we're puzzled. Like,
what's the plan?
Probably could have thought of something a little bit different in this circumstance.
But again, they know they've studied these prospects thoroughly, you know, and if I'm like, hey, you hired Lou Anarumo for a reason, you hired these guys, Chris Hewitt, for a reason.
Yep.
They identified this kid, obviously.
Yep.
And so if they identified him and said, we got to get him now, then you know what? You got to, like, if you're Ballard, you got to trust them.
Yeah.
You got to trust them. And again, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to us now based off of our boards, but their board
and how we
obviously looked a lot differently. So look, I'm not going to overreact to this and say this is a horrible pick. I hate this. Fire Ballard, blah, 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 whatever. Like, just because I don't know who this kid is beyond the stats doesn't mean that I can make a sound judgment here. So I'm not going to. Yep. I'm not going to make a sound judgment here. I'm going to say, you know what? Trust your guys. Trust the scouts. Trust the coaches. See, obviously they see something in this kid.
Yeah, if they're willing to take him this early.
I mean, if they're willing to take him before a lot of people expected it, you know what? Like, we'll just have to see. I'm not going to say I love this pick. I'm not going to say I hate this pick. I'm just going to be in the wait and see here. And if he turns out in a year or two to be an absolute stud, good on them, man. Yep. Good on them. So, yeah, the thing that's good about him, Derek, is, you know, obviously the passer rating. That's definitely an encouraging thing. Even though he's a little bit undersized, which is definitely a deviation from the Ballard type of corner.
Does have big hands and decent arm length.
Yeah, yeah, but he's a guy that can play in and out. He said that that's where the Colts kind of see him.
Yep.
You do, even though I don't know how high it is on the list, I certainly wouldn't address it now. You do have a need at backup nickel. Outside of Kenny Moore, we've seen if Kenny Moore goes down, you really haven't had a good answer So you bring in a kid that you believe in here that can come in, and obviously he's not going to start right away.
Yeah, probably
but
not.
He'll probably start out as a special teams guy, and he's had experience on special teams.
Yes.
But,
Ample
potentially, in a couple of years, this could be your starting nickel corner for the future. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the wait and see right now with him. I mean, it's not personally, according to the draft boards that we have, according to what, the draft boards that other people have, it's not a guy that I would have taken here. But again, it's totally different. What happened?
No, just check and make sure we're good there.
Yeah. So, but again, the Colts board and our board, totally different. So, yeah, we'll just have to see on this one, man. But definitely was surprised.
Definitely a head scratcher. The first head scratcher that we've seen. Yeah, even your reaction was like, what? Again, we never expected the name. It was a shock. But like Cody said, I mean, we're going to wait and see what happens with this kid. Certainly hope that it will work out in the future.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just going to sit back and wait, but certainly a head scratcher.
I mean, at the draft, you know what? Like, there's overreactions on both sides. Some people think we got the next Hall of Fame, GOAT player here. Some people say, what the heck was that pick? And either way, it's never quite what people think a lot of times.
And the crazy thing is, too, Cody, is, again, like, I think a lot of these teams, from what we had seen, you and I have seen it, like, we've been watching the third round. We've been watching the second round. And we saw these teams taking these guys. It's not just the Colts taking one guy that was way too early by some people. A lot of these teams are taking these teams or these players that were projected to be late day 3 guys. But these teams recognize these guys for certain things. So we're going to just have to wait and see what they do. But it's certainly going to be interesting, Cody.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So, yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts on this one. I'm sure everybody's so pumped out about this one. But let us know your thoughts, guys, in the comments down below. But that'll do it for this one. Thanks so much, guys. As always, go Colts.
What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, with the 4th round pick, the Indianapolis Colts traded back from 117 to 127. And with that 127th pick, the Indianapolis Colts selected Jalen Travis, a tackle from Iowa State. Definitely, again, a name that we had not heard a lot of going into today, but we look at this and there's a lot of things to be kind of impressed about, and we're going to hop into this and even talk a little bit about what this could potentially mean for the Indianapolis Colts offensive line going forward into this season. But let's talk first about Jalen Travis. So, first things first, 6'7" and 3/4.
6'8".
So 335 pounds. This is a massive human being, guys. Almost 35-inch arms, which would put him as one of the longest arms in the NFL. And at 10.5-inch hands. So this guy has a massive frame, Cody. This is a massive framed guy, but don't let the size fool you. This guy had an 87 athleticism score at the combine, which ranked 3rd amongst the tackles that participated in the combine. He had a 5.14 40-yard dash, a 1.8 10-yard split. He had a 35-inch vertical, a 9'4" broad jump, and also had 26 bench press reps. So he has the strength and he has the explosiveness to match with it. So, Cody, I mean, you look at this. This is a guy that's got the size, but he's got explosion to go along with it.
Yeah, a rare combination of both, right? Because usually when you're a guy that's 6'7", 6'8", 340, you lack something there in the athleticism standpoint. But when looking at Jordan Travis, I mean, from all metrics here, pretty much the only thing that he is not really, really good or elite in is the agility, right? And he's still, but he's that big. He's that big, but he's also very athletic. He's got a huge explosion rate. Speed's really good for his size. So, I mean, you look at him, he projects there at that right tackle position, competing right away with Blake Freeland for right tackle, for the swing tackle.
Yeah.
And I just think you look at that and you say, man, if you can tap into that and just continue to help him refine himself. I mean, all the traits are there.
Yeah.
Like the size is obviously there, the speed's there, the explosion's there. So if you're the Indianapolis Colts, you traded back 10 picks, you acquired another 6th-round pick, and you still got a tackle that you really feel like can help you out in the immediate in terms of a swing tackle, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely important to have if you're the Indianapolis Colts. And I'm sure we'll talk about it in a little bit. That maybe gives some more clarity on how the Colts view Matt Gonsalves in the future at right guard.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're looking at him just purely as a prospect, he's definitely a kid that has a lot of traits you look for. And I mean, heck, we've seen it, Derek, with the Indianapolis Colts drafting offensive linemen round 3, round 4. We see it all the time. The Colts able to find some guys. I mean, heck, Tanner Bortolini a year ago, right?
Yep.
Very athletic guy.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts found there in round 4. So, yeah, I love the fact that they're betting on these guys and their athletic traits and betting, on some of the coaching staff to be able to develop these guys. I mean, we've seen the way the Colts have been able to develop these type of athletic guys in the past. So, yeah, I'm excited for Jalen Travis, what he can bring in the immediate competing for right tackle. I mean, he'd be massive if you moved him to guard, but
yeah, he's too big. He's just too big to be a guard. You don't want to have these 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" guys in the middle because it's just so much harder, even for quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, who are 6'5". Yeah. It's still very hard to be able to get over when your offensive linemen are still way taller than you. So it does make it a little harder there. But as you said, Jalen Travis could very well compete to beat out Blake Freeland as the primary swing tackle here. It's just a rare combination of size and speed. When you have 35-inch arms and you're that big, I mean, Cody, there's no getting around someone like this. Yeah. You can't get past a Jalen Travis. You would have to pray that your move was good enough to be able to get around him. But even if it wasn't, you would then have to try to find a way to go through this guy. And if for as long as he is and was able to still bench press 26 reps, that's really good. I mean, that is very big grown man strength. So obviously a lot of teams looking at this guy certainly is not the finest tuned prospect. Obviously the size, it's very big. So it obviously kind of makes it a little bit more difficult in some areas. Could very well be a little bit better. But as you told me before this, that he had a 85 pass pro rating amongst PFF. So, pretty solid. It could be a lot. It could be better, but that is still pretty solid in given terms of what he was. But yeah, I mean, this is certainly a guy that, we were wondering when the Indianapolis Colts were going to take offensive line depth. Were they going to take somebody at tackle? Were they going to take somebody on the interior? Who knew? Yeah. But we finally see that come down, and you're right. I mean, we'll have a video on this at another time, but, we're wondering when that first offensive lineman gets taken, and will it make an indication that Matt Gonsalves likely gets moved to right guard instead of staying at right tackle?
Yeah, I think that pretty much sends a signal the Colts like Matt Gonsalves at right guard. I mean, I would think that would be the move here for the Indianapolis Colts. Again, they still could draft a guard, a little bit later. Like, I'm not going to completely write that off the table, but I mean, we talk about all the time. It's so much harder to find tackles, isn't it? It's so much harder to find guys that can play the swing tackle position. I mean, we knew, like, with losing, a guy like Will Fries, like, what's that going to do for your offensive line? Where are you going to, have to help in the draft? And so, drafting a guy here with Jordan Travis, I mean, now the third JT you have on your roster, which is kind of funny. So, yeah, I mean, I like betting on the traits. I like the Colts odds from what we've seen with their recent developments of different guys, right? I mean, heck, we saw even back in 2022, taking a guy like Bernhard Raimann, a very athletically gifted guy. Now, of course, Jordan Travis won't have to worry about putting on weight. That's not his concern. Getting stronger, it's some different concerns here. But yeah, overall, man, I think it's a good selection here for the Indianapolis Colts, getting their swing tackle. And now you feel a lot better about the depth of that group because, I mean, Derek, you have now multiple guys that can play on the interior, and now you have, multiple guys who can compete for that swing tackle position. So I'm totally good with it, to be honest with you, here for the Indianapolis Colts and everything like that. So, yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts here on Jordan Travis, the Colts' first pick here of day 3, round number 4, pick 127. Let us know your thoughts on this pick on Travis as a player in the comments down below. I will just say this dude's a freak physically, and we'll see if the Colts can get the best out of him. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. The Colts still have 4 more picks today, so you guys definitely want to continue to tune in for that. But again, guys, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much, and as always, go Colts.
What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, for only about the second time in this draft so far, the Colts actually picked a name that Cody and I were kind of thinking they might take here. And with their 5th round pick at 151, the Indianapolis Colts select DJ Giddins, running back out of Kansas State. Cody, there's been quite a few Kansas State running backs that have been taken in the NFL draft recently. DJ Giddins follows in that mix. 6 foot, 215 pounds, an RAS score of a 9.78. A guy that had 1,300 yards at Kansas State last year, over 4 yards after contact, and a 6.5 yards per rush. I mean, this is a guy that, checks a lot of boxes, Cody. And the Colts have that running back that could compete for running back 2.
Yeah, I think this is, from what I heard, very explosive kid. He's got some good size on him. I mean, typically when you think of some of those guys, they can be a little bit undersized, but he's all of 215. So, yeah, DJ Giddins, I think, a really explosive kid for sure. He's got some top-line speed. He's got some explosiveness. He's got the athleticism. I mean, he's a 9.78 RAS kid, so he's definitely got all those things you're looking for. I know there's been a comp to Marlon Mack, and that we all were wondering, if Mack didn't get injured, what would that 1-2 punch look like when they drafted JT, right? So this could potentially be that. And the good thing also that he can do as well, DJ Giddins, that is he can catch out of the backfield. He can do some stuff out of the backfield. So just another receiving option. You obviously have Khalil Herbert, who can do some of that as well. Obviously Tyler Goodson has a little bit of upside there. But DJ Giddins, when you just talk about a pure running standpoint, you mentioned it. Over 6.5 yards per carry last year. And that's 205 carries, averaging 6.5 yards per carry. That's pretty darn impressive. So that's definitely a good thing there for DJ Giddins, and just another guy that can help complement Jonathan Taylor, help Shane Steichen out in this offense, and just continue to really, talk about a major upgrade this offseason for the running back position. You go from Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson as your 2 and 3 to now potentially having Khalil Herbert and DJ Giddins as running back 2 and 3 respectively, or however you want to put that out. I do think he'll have an immediate impact some way, somehow. I think he'll be able to spell JT, because we know JT's had some injury concerns the last couple of years. So a player like DJ Giddins here in the 5th round, I think it makes a lot of sense. I honestly thought he was going to go a little bit earlier, to be real with you.
Some people thought he would.
But when you look at this kid overall, you like the size, you like the explosiveness. I think value-wise, this is a very good pick here for the Indianapolis Colts. And one of my favorite, running back prospects here. There's a couple guys, but we talked about it, Derek, like the depth of this class. I think, Derek, if there's any other, even last year's draft, DJ Giddins probably would have gone early 3rd or somewhere around there, or maybe even 4th round.
If it wasn't for as deep as it was.
He could have gone out. So there's so many good running backs in this class. So a player like DJ Giddins definitely fell here because of that. But can't argue with the production, can't argue with the explosiveness, and hey, you like the size as well for DJ Giddins.
Yep, second fastest 10-yard split of any running back in this class. Noah Compton states it's like a souped-up Tyler Goodson. So basically kind of feels like that. Giddins is definitely going to be the guy. We talk about Jonathan Taylor and his lack of ability to create bigger plays in the pass game. Sometimes there's inconsistencies there. He's definitely a better runner, and he can make a few catches out of the backfield, but you want a guy that's a little bit more shifty. You want a guy that's going to be able to make people miss, and DJ Giddins is definitely that guy. Cody, you said it in the live stream, 69 missed tackles that was forced by DJ Giddins last season. So that is an average. If you average that out to 13 games on the year, if they even played that many, that's literally 6 missed tackles a game.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy makes people miss. He has phenomenal feet. He's got quick feet. And he's one of those guys that, like, you see the Le'Veon Bells, the Marlon Mack comparison. The vision is really good. He knows how to cut and go back to the opposite hole when it opens up. That's what you want to see. Yeah.
The patience and the vision to read the blocks. I mean,
then that
Marlon Mack did that so well.
Yes.
I mean, you saw many times where he would almost like throw offensive linemen in front of him.
And Jonathan Taylor has gotten better at that as time has gone along. So DJ Giddins, while maybe not the fastest athlete that you'll ever see, does have that great instinct and that great ability to cut really quickly. So that is definitely going to play a big role for them. And if you got a guy that's fast and has quick feet like this is a guy that you can throw some of those running back screens to and be able to get some guys to miss. That is exactly what the Indianapolis Colts are going to look at. It will be a fun running back competition this year with him and Khalil Herbert on who gets the running back 2 option. There was a lot of running backs that you could have potentially taken in this spot. I know a lot of people talked about Damian Martinez, talked about Devin Neal, talked about Ollie Gordon and a bunch of these other guys. But, the Colts said, we really like what we see in DJ Giddins, that ability to just make those jump cuts. That's something that you really have to work on as a running back, but he has it already. So with that and the vision and the athleticism, they're going with this here, and I can't be upset about it.
No, we knew running back was a need of some sort here, especially because, you felt like you needed at least one more guy in there to compete. DJ Giddins, at the very least, will be a quality backup this year.
Yes.
And obviously will help spell JT when he needs it, and that's absolutely what you've needed to do at that position. So, yeah, he's an absolute stud. I'm excited for him. I mean, the biggest things he needs to work in his pass pro. That's kind of one of the big issues that he has. Also some ball security issues as well, but the explosiveness alone is enough to take him there, with that 5th round pick there for the Colts. So, yeah, running back, check it off the list here. Only a couple more needs for the Colts, realistically, that we're talking about here, because they addressed offensive line. Now, they address running back here with DJ Giddins. So we'll have to see, man. Colts have 3 more picks here, 2 in the 6th round, 1 in the 7th. We'll see what happens here. But, guys, let us know your thoughts here in the comments down below. DJ Giddins, the newest Indianapolis Colts draft pick, running back here, an explosive guy the Colts add, a guy with patience, a guy with good vision. I think he's going to be a good find here in Shane Steichen's offense. But let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, all that stuff. Guys, that'll do it for this one. Thanks so much. As always, go Colts.
All right, what is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, the Colts had 2 6th-round picks in the 2025 NFL Draft, back-to-back picks at that. And with the 189th pick, the Indianapolis Colts selected quarterback Riley Leonard out of Notre Dame. And with the 190th pick, the Indianapolis Colts selected Tim Smith, defensive tackle out of Alabama. Cody, your initial thoughts on Riley Leonard here? I mean, there were some other quarterbacks that were still potentially available in that spot that I felt like, could have potentially been taken over Leonard. But what's your reaction to that one?
I mean, not super happy, to be honest, but Sam Ehlinger insurance, I suppose. And I feel like in a lot of similar ways, very athletic, but definitely lacks some ability to be an illegitimate NFL quarterback. I love, obviously the run this year Notre Dame had, and just love his attitude and his spirit. But, I don't know. Like, Quinn Ewers, it's like either way, I don't really love it at quarterback. And then Tim Smith, we knew it was a need on the defensive line. Probably would have taken a guy like Peebles there, but he is a guy that played for Bama, and he started at Alabama. So, yeah, probably just another backup guy competing in that spot with Neville Gallimore and just filling out the depth. I would still like to see them do something there, but regardless, just another guy in there. We know they desperately need some guys behind Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner. So, yeah, I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think I like the Tim Smith one probably a little bit better, to be honest, just because of the pedigree, the team starting at there. Nothing really super stands out about Tim Smith. He's 6'4", 300 pounds. So moved a little bit everywhere. So he has some versatility there, but really not super impressed overall.
Yeah. So again, you had 2 6-round picks here. Felt like they're very surprised after these picks. The Colts have still not gotten any interior offensive line help. We know that there is Wesley French there. We know that Danny Pinter could be someone in the future for that. Obviously, this is most likely still coming to the fact that Matt Gonsalves most likely will be your right guard of the future, but even still looking for that depth piece could very well be a situation where we see the Colts address it before the season starts in free agency. But yeah, Riley Leonard specifically, it fits the mold of what the Indianapolis Colts like in a quarterback. Riley Leonard, who has shown everyone that, he has the ability to both throw the football and run with the football. That was very adamant last year. He was the only quarterback in college football last year to have 20 plus passing touchdowns and 15 plus rushing touchdowns. So it was a very big aspect of his game. And for Notre Dame's offense, for Riley Leonard to be impactful with the run game. So obviously the Colts lining up their quarterback room with at least a couple guys that can move if need be. I mean, Cody, we saw last year with Joe Flacco, that was virtually non-existent, and the run game became non-existent at that point as well.
Yeah.
When you knew Joe Flacco was out there. I will just say this. I think I saw Shad say this. I hope I never have to see Riley Leonard in a meaningful game ever.
No.
Because he's very atrocious at making the correct reads. He did have a lot of mistakes at Notre Dame and was very inconsistent in a lot of different aspects. I do know that he obviously played well enough for Notre Dame to continue to go on that run, but everybody knew what this was. Riley Leonard was not the answer. Very shocked at that pick, to say the least. And then to go Tim Smith afterwards. Again, I thought this was going to be something where the Colts were going to take a defensive tackle earlier in this draft, Cody. I mean, we talked about it, like you need a bona fide guy after Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner come off the field.
Yeah.
And even still to this moment, barring Tim Smith does something incredible, I'm not seeing it. I mean,
No.
Tim, you don't have a definitive guy on the interior of your defensive line that you can sit back and say, we feel confident that if Grover Stewart or DeForest Buckner came off the field for a couple plays, that those guys could do anything for you. So definitely strange stuff here in the 6th round for the Indianapolis Colts. You take a flyer on a guy that, makes, in my opinion, makes absolutely no sense to get at that spot. And, another guy in Tim Smith, I mean, I don't know much about him yet. And, we'll see how he does. But overall, the athleticism really isn't all that great. The production score just really isn't that great. There's really nothing that stands out about Tim Smith right now. So I think you and I are both in agreement, man. We're just kind of perplexed by a few of these picks here.
Again, they're 6th-round picks, so really at the end of the day, it's not that much, but still, like you've been able to find guys and you've taken, the chance on traits, and I just don't see a lot of traits here, when it comes to these guys. I don't see a lot of like physical stuff that we've seen the Colts do in the past. Not really. So, yeah, I mean, but I guess the good thing is with Tim Smith, he's good in the run game, so maybe he can factor in there somewhere in the back there. So, but we'll see. I mean, maybe Tim Smith's a steal. Maybe he's a find there. Maybe he, I know some people have said they projected him to go a little bit earlier. So maybe that one, but I'll say I definitely like that one more than the quarterback for sure. Mm-hmm. But I understand it too, and the fact that you need somebody to compete with Jason Bean for QB3. I mean, like you said, Riley Leonard's not seeing the field this year. Most likely he's a practice squad guy. So whatever. Like, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much same here. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let us know your thoughts on Riley Leonard and Tim Smith here in the 6th round. Back-to-back picks for the Indianapolis Colts. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you guys so much. And as always,
what's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, sorry we weren't able to get out a video talking about the newest Indianapolis Colts 7th round pick, but wanted to make a quick video kind of talking about that pick. So the Indianapolis Colts in round 7 with their final pick of the 2025 NFL draft at pick number 232. They select linebacker Hunter Wohler out of Wisconsin. So Chris Ballard gets his Badger, and Hunter Wohler was more of a safety in college, but looks like he's going to go the Jalen Carlisle's route, is going to play down at linebacker. And this is a kid that's got some athletic ability, 6'2", 215 pounds, really stood out in the Senior Bowl from what everybody was saying, really helped himself out in that department, has a really nice athletic profile as well. He ran a 4.57 in the 40-yard dash, a 37-inch vert, 10-inch broad jump, and a 6.73 three-cone drill. So this is a kid that definitely projects as another one of those athletically gifted guys that the Colts feel like they can help convert down to safety and potentially tap into that a little bit. I know we've talked a lot about linebacker and the fact that the Colts really didn't do a whole lot in that department. So it'll be interesting to see how he does fit here into the Indianapolis Colts. You know, obviously we wanted the Colts to draft the linebacker earlier. They hadn't done that. So could Wohler potentially be a person that competes for a roster spot right away? We will have to see. At the worst, maybe he is a special teams guy to start out, but certainly got to like the athletic profile and maybe betting to go 2 for 2 here if he could have a similar transition to Jalen Carlisle a year ago. But guys, that is the last pick here for the Indianapolis Colts. We already have our draft thoughts up, our draft recap up. If you haven't yet, be sure to go check that out on the channel. But guys, that'll do it for this one. The Colts are done with the 2025 NFL draft. So thank you to everybody who did tune into our coverage this weekend. It was a ton of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I know we definitely did. So thank you guys, everybody who hopped into a stream, watched one of our videos. We really do appreciate it. But the final pick of the Colts here, Hunter Wohler. We're going to be having some more thoughts, guys, on some more stuff in regards to the NFL draft because, you know, there still are some thoughts we want to communicate, certainly some questions we want to talk about as well. So a lot of that stuff is going to be up on the horizon. We may start trying to do some of that stuff maybe tomorrow. We'll kind of see how the weekend plays out for us. But yeah, guys, final pick here for the Indianapolis Colts, Hunter Wohler out of Wisconsin. Safety at Wisconsin is going to convert down to linebacker. But let me know your guys' thoughts on this final pick for the Indianapolis Colts. But guys, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. And as always, guys, go Colts.